In this tutorial, we will take a look at how we can make top-down shooting. You can see, and before I jump into the coding part, I just want to thanks Akhir K, Kasim Bekeba, Stroll, and Hector23 for joining Patreon membership. And if you are guys interested, then go check it out on my Patreon page and unlock exclusive benefits by joining. And now without further delay, let's dive into this tutorial. We'll add the shooting thing. So I need the bullet sprite. I will move over to my project app, assets, and then sprites folder. Then I will navigate to my player folder. I have the bullet. So let's select that, drag it over to the scene view or into hierarchy, and we can see the bullet is way big. So let's make the pixel park unit to something 500 and then apply. Just wait, and now we can see bullet is little bit small, and let's select that and we're gonna drag it over somewhere around here. So the first thing, we just gonna make a prefab of this bullet, and after that we just want to spawn top of this gun of this player. So let's call this one bullet, just like that we're gonna call it, and let's turn it into a prefab. Before we turn it into a prefab, let's add some component. So the first thing, I'm gonna add a rigid body 2D. Let's click on add component, and we're gonna add a rigid body 2D, and let's set the body type to kinematic, collision detection to continuous, and we will add one more component for collision detection. So let's click on add component, and we're gonna add a box collider 2D, and make sure you just take this is trigger as text, and then edit the collider as the size of your bullet sprite. And now this seems perfect, and we're gonna turn this bullet into a prefab. So let's select the bullet, let's drag it inside that assets folder or prefab subfolder, and now I'm gonna select my bullet, let's delete. And in order to spawn that, we just need to use a function called instantiate. So let's open up our player script by double clicking on it, and we're gonna make a function for it. So let's make it somewhere around here. We're gonna make this function public void, and we can call it shoot or fire. Let's call it shoot simply, first bracket and some curly brackets. And for that, we're gonna use a function called instantiate. So we will use this instantiate function to spawn, and this over here as a first argument, it will take the game object that we want to spawn. In our case, that will be bullet. And the second thing, it's need the position from where we want to shoot out, and the third argument, it's gonna take the rotation. So let's make this one comment for now by double forward slash, then then come at the top of your class, and let's grab those reference. So the first thing, we're gonna grab public game object that will be bullet prefab. So let's call it bullet prefab. And the second thing, we need the position. Let's create a public transform which is responsible for position, and we can call it shoot point. So let's call it shoot point, and then close that up with semicolon. And also we need a velocity of that bullet, with how much speed we just want to move. So we're gonna make a public float, and we're gonna call it bullet velocity, or let's simply call it velocity. And by default, I'm gonna set equal to something around 10f. And let's save our script. Let's head again to Unity editor. Now let's take our bullet prefab from that folder, let's drag it over to bullet prefab, and we don't have the shoot point. So let's select the player, let's right click on it, or we're gonna select the weapon, basically the gun. Let's right click on it, we're gonna create an empty child game object, and let's call this game object to something like shoot point, and let's drag it at the top of our gun or the weapon. And I'm gonna choose n gizmos, go over to inspector, click here, and you can choose gizmos. I'm gonna choose this one, and now we're gonna take our shoot point, let's drag it over to shoot point field. Now we have the bullet prefab and the shoot point, and we are ready to spawn. So let's navigate to our script, and to spawn that, let's use this function, and let's remove those forward slashes. So as a first argument, I'm gonna pass my bullet prefab, and the second thing, it's gonna take the point. So let's pass our shoot point. So we're gonna pass shoot point, and we need the position, so let's type dot position. And the third argument, it's gonna take the rotation, so I'm gonna pass shoot point dot rotation, means whatever rotation shoot point is facing at the basically uh, in that rotation I just want to shoot out my bullet, so that is the reason. And now we're gonna close that up with semicolon. And if we go ahead, save our script, navigate to Unity editor, we also need a need to shoot our bullet. So basically we need to call the shoot function, but when I'm gonna call it, once I'm gonna click the left mouse button, so I will move over to my update function, and over here I will check for some input. So let's use the if condition, and I will check if input dot get mouse button down, and we're gonna check with 0, means that we clicking the left mouse button. Then I'm gonna call the shoot function, and we do know what shoot function is really doing. And now if we save our script, navigate to Unity editor once again, it will be fine. And if we go ahead, play our game, if we click the left mouse button, we can see the bullet is spawning. By the way, it's not going at all, so we need to add the velocity. And we do know that we added a rigid body 2D component to that bullet. If we select the bullet, go over to inspector, we can see, so we need to get the reference of this rigid body 2D of this bullet, then we can just add up the velocity. So let's go over to our script, and now what we're gonna do, we're gonna store the bullet which we spawn it into another container, and the container type or the variable, or you can simply assume the parameter type, will be game object, because that bullet itself a game object. And we're gonna call it something like temp bullet or temporary bullet equal to this. So first thing, we spawning this bullet at this position with this rotation, and after we taking that bullet, and then we storing that bullet into this temp bullet container or a parameter. And now what we're gonna do, we're gonna access the rigid body of it. To do that, let's go to container or where we stored the bullet. So we're going to use temp bullet dot get component, and the component that we're looking for is a rigid body 2D. So let's access that, make first bracket, and now we're going to access the velocity. So we're going to type dot linear velocity, and we can set equal to which our velocity that we created in the top, which is velocity. So we can set that. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna use this shoot point dot up. Shoot point dot up basically means which direction shoot point is facing. So in the vertically, let's suppose the shoot point is facing to the right, then shoot point dot up there will be this direction. And in this case, shoot point dot up will be here, and if the player rotates something over here, then shoot point dot up gonna be here, and it's gonna shoot out the bullet here in this direction. So that is the logic. And now we're gonna multiply this direction with our velocity. So let's multiply velocity, and we're gonna close that up with semicolon. So the first thing, we just going over to rigid body 2D of this bullet, you can see. And after accessing the linear velocity of this bullet, we just adding the velocity, you can notice. And now we can simply save our script, and we can navigate to Unity editor. Let's test this out. We go ahead, click the left mouse button, we can indeed notice the bullet is shooting. So by the way, we also need to destroy this bullet after some period of time. If we zoom out and then take a look at our bullet, is still going and going. So after like 10 seconds, we just want to destroy them. So let's get out of play mode. For that, let's go over to our script, and after adding the velocity, we just want to destroy after some period of time. And to destroy, we're gonna use the destroy function, and this will take the game object that we want to destroy. So let's pass out our temp bullet where we store it. And the second thing, we can specify the time. So after like 7 seconds, I just want to destroy. Let's go ahead, and we're gonna play our game, and we can notice it's shooting out the bullet, and after 7 seconds it should be destroyed itself. And indeed it just destroyed itself. And if we take a look on our hierarchy seems a lot more clean, and the scene view as well. And I'm gonna get out of play mode. I will see you in the next tutorial. Goodbye for now.